All right. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Elite 100. Hopefully you guys, oh, Dan, nice hat. Hopefully you guys had an amazing holiday weekend. We had an amazing weekend, had a lot of fun, really disconnected from the phones and everything, which is the first time in a while. So hopefully you guys did some of the same. If we could get you guys to turn your cameras on, that'd be awesome. Awesome. And I'm sure there's some wins. So let's start with some wins. Oh, first of all, let me welcome one of my good buddies, William Geis. William, what's up, brother? Good to see you. So William and I have known each other for some past shenanigans and endeavors, and I may butcher this, but mostly what you're dealing with is large, or not large, but commercial HVAC enhancement equipment. Is that the best way to say what you're working with?
It's energy controls across the board. So we do refrigeration, HVAC, total building management.
So yeah, when I was working with William, they have a whole slew of products that take existing equipment and enhance their performance. So just a real win-win-win for the clients and as well for obviously for him. So sitting in, checking us out. And so the first thing we start with is wins. So who's got some wins they'd love to share? All right. Oh, you must have a ton.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I was missing for the last 2 weeks. I was in Jerusalem doing the tour of the Holy Land and thing. One of the biggest wins of my life, not the weekend, was I got to serve on as an archdeacon in Christ on the Christ tomb. So I don't think I can top anything else in my life. Billions or friends, respectfully, or family or anything. This was just, I had no words. For an entire day I didn't speak. So if people who know me can understand that.
I honestly can't imagine. That's amazing. Yeah, I'd love to see some of the pictures in the group when you get a minute.
You got it.
I love it. Chris, what about you, bud? Or Erica, whoever has the win.
It was me. It's been about a week and a half or so ago, but I got to go to Canada, Toronto, and have dinner and play golf with one of my rock icons, my favorite band since I was like 14 or 15, and got a chance to hang out all night, hear all kinds of great stories, and then play golf all day. So it was a pretty amazing bucket list item. So that was great.
Geez, Canada, would that be Rush by any chance?
Yes, it was Rush. It was Rush.
Lucky
Alex
guy.
Lifeson, the guitarist, got to
that's crazy. I idolize them too. They're amazing musicians.
Yeah, they're my favorite. I didn't have a little tattoo of them, so
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. Kevin, what about you, brother?
A few from last week. So first was I was invited to give a presentation or a speech to I think 250 real estate investors in Dallas. And I got really good feedback or response from the audience, and they told me like I crushed it. And
Of course you did.
yeah. It was really fun to just give a talk like that. I've never like given one before, like in public, and a lot of people say I'm a natural, so I'm going to really just kind of leverage that, do more like speaking engagement in the future. What else? I went to a studio too. I went to a studio like last Wednesday to do a podcast interview with another guy. He's doing a show, and then he interviews a lot of real estate investors like me. That was my first experience going to a studio. There's like a makeup artist there. She was, putting some makeup on me so that my face would not be so dark, in front of the camera. They have all sorts of equipments, the sound room, visual, audio, like equipments there. It's quite an experience. Like as I was recording the podcast, I saw the news anchor. She's like recording like a live.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like right in front of, like right next to my room. So that was pretty cool. That was an experience by itself.
I love it. Make sure to get all of that over to Keaton and his team, right? Because that's where the attraction market happens. When you do things like that, they'll cut it up 6 ways to Sunday and have 6 months of content with it. So
yeah,
awesome. Proud of you, brother. Love it.
Thank you.
I'll do one more. Matt, what about you, bud?
All right, so we have a huge win. We actually signed up for Orchard Hills Athletic Club, and we worked out this morning, the entire family, my 9-year-old, my 12-year-old, my niece who's staying with us for a couple months, who's 20 years old. Yun and I showed up at the gym at 5:15 this morning, had a family workout, so it's exciting.
Oh, I love it. No, it's good. You guys have been crushing, investments and income streams for, well, since we met. I mean, a long time ago now, but that's always been eluding you. Well, you released a ton of weight actually, but it's not the same as like getting physically fit. So I love it, love it, love it. Awesome, Matt. Would you do us the honor of reading the Mastermind principles, and I can pull them up? Needed.
Absolutely. Let me, let's see who can race to get them first, because I have them on my desktop. All right, you win. I didn't go into it's in my TIR folder. All right. Mastermind principles. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I am open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire totally in trust to the mastermind, and I am open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires, and I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my fulfillment. I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy.
Awesome. Thanks for that, brother. And as you guys know, we have a bunch of pillars here in the Elite 100, and one of them is hot seat coach. We have a few people that are sort of up and on deck. I know Chris and Erica. You guys want individual ones, or you want one together? Or have you not thought about it? Together? Okay, just let us know in that. Corbin, if you're listening, I know you're due for one, and just let me know. And then we have Chris Patterson coming up. And William, just so you know, we have 4 pillars inside Elite 100. We studied mindset at a very deep level, which is what we're going to be doing today. We have a lot of different revenue streams, which I want to talk about a couple of them today. We do hot seat coaching, or when people come in and just sort of the whole group pours into them, whether it's business development or money raises or launching a book, or if it's a health, whatever it is. So that's what a hot seat is. And then we have retreats and other things. So today's pillar is going to be mindset. We're going to go deep into that. But before we get going, guys, I do want to chat about the Forex AI and the gold fund. If you guys have been following along, you saw that the AI faltered a little bit last week. Now, I think it lost like 0.2% or something. It's up 199% for the year. This happened about 6 months ago as well, because it's an algorithm. And if the market changes, they have to tune it. And I'm in contact with the people that developed it. I'm on a special Telegram channel. Sometimes you guys see us post stuff, but just know that they are tweaking that, and it's quite normal. And it's nothing to be alarmed about. I think they were still up 12% last month, is what I recorded in my journal. But it also talks to the point about diversification, right? The gold fund, we put about 15% in our pockets last month. So, and that's been crushing it. So good point about diversification, but also just to let you guys know, in full transparency, when you have an algorithm, sometimes it needs to be massaged and tweaked, and they can test it in test scenarios, but at some point they have to actually go live and do the live market stuff. So that's part of what you're seeing last week. So nothing to be alarmed about there. Anybody have any questions on either one of those or anything about that before we good?
Brian, I do have one.
Sure.
This is regarding like mirroring the trade. Go fund, like how you can look at all the transactions in DeFi.
You caught on to that, huh?
I don't know if you know Social Trader. It actually allows you to copy from and to. I'm doing experiment right now with
Yeah.
a demo. So I think that's going to be very exciting because we can get rid of the 60-40 split.
But that one's a 50-50 split. Yeah.
Got you, got you.
But if you have time, I do know people that mirror or attempt to mirror those trades. So if you have time and you want to study, absolutely, but
Yeah.
like I said, I believe in diversification. So for me, I would never just get rid of it, and to stay in integrity, right? If this is where you're getting your information, that person deserves to earn. But maybe my opinion would be to start a new account and grow your money there. But again, I just like to stay in integrity. If you're getting
Absolutely
information that can make you millions and millions of dollars, they should get compensated. So
right, definitely, yeah.
cool. All right, let's switch over to a little bit of content here. We're going to pick up in God Works Through You. And it was funny. We only got through like a page last time because it was so in depth in what we were talking about. So we're going to pick up here and let's see. Mr. Josiah, are you in a place where you could read or could hear your angelic voice? And again, just anything that stands out to anybody, just either raise your hand or jump right in. We really spent a lot of time last time right in this little section, but we can start from there.
Where do you want me to start?
Just what is Christ?
Okay. What is Christ? Christ is the connecting link between man and God. He's referred to in the scriptures as the Son. The Christ mind is aware in two directions, for it is conscious of both God and man. What is man? Man is personality. He is symbolized in the scripture as the carnal, fleshly or human mind, but man is the highest creation of God, not only because he is made in God's image and likeness, but also because he is endowed with the power of choice, with self-will, which calls for the use of intelligence. He can utilize all three phases of mind in his living. Mind, God, the subjective God. The subconscious is the bridge between God and man. And the human mind, the objective, conscious mind.
So I'm going to chat about that a little bit. In my own personal experience working with Bob, I was taught that we have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. We're kind of taught that that's our existence, spirit, intellect, and body, right? And in my own personal studies, and this was only about 2 years ago, I learned what he's talking about here, which is that the subconscious mind is actually not a part of you. It's your attachment to infinite knowledge, right? So when you say that the subconscious mind is about 1 million times more powerful than the conscious mind, that's just something we use in the early days to get people to attach to the idea of programming this part of you, which is the subconscious mind. But the reality, at least in my studies, is that your subconscious mind is actually open to infinite intelligence. Does that make sense? Is that how you guys understand it, or what is your point of view on that? Deep
I would
question.
agree with you, Brian, that it is a connection, and I've often heard it described as, part of you is your subconscious mind. That's where your programming exists.
Mhm.
But then there's the superconscious,
Mhm.
right? The part of it that's connected to all that is. So I tend to think of it as a little bit in two parts. Your subconscious contains your lived experience, what's known to you, which really creates your programming.
Mhm.
But that's also connected to all that is.
Yeah, this was like one of those holy shit type of awareness moments about 2 years ago, and I'm like, it made so much sense. It's almost like if you think about the cloud, right? There's hundreds of thousands of servers, probably, I don't know, maybe millions in the Google Cloud, right? All over the world, they have databases. So I look at like our subconscious mind is one server in the cloud, the piece of all that is. And we have our bit to program, which are all the mental programs controlling all of our results. but that it is attached to and part of what people call God. Peggy?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I had, I'm seeking more clarity around this as well, but I remember in the inner circle towards the end, Bob was, he said you build the image from spirit using your intellect in your imagination and your intuition. And then you use your will to hold that image on the screen of your subconscious mind to the exclusion of all else. And then at the end, he was like erasing the bottom of the subconscious mind. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like he
do.
was erasing
Makes
that
sense, right?
boundary around it, because he said that is connected, like Dan said, to all that is. But then I've seen other consultants, I think I saw a post from Kathleen that said, your desire and everything starts in your subconscious and goes the other way. So I'm a little fuzzy about.
Yeah, I mean, we're born. Bob used to say that we're
Directionality
born with
and,
desire. Like all human beings have a natural, innate want for things. Call it desire. We're kind of born that way. Unfortunately, most people get that beaten out of them because of their upbringing, schooling, their experiences. They're just not around anything that could help them build awareness. They kind of get defeated and they say, well, I guess this is as good as it gets. So I don't think they actually lose desire. They accept the idea that it's not for them. It's for other people, but it's not for them. So desire, my understanding, is something we're born with, and we can enhance it, I think, based on our experiences. You go after something and you achieve it. It's like, well, I want more and more and more. But yeah, I mean, Kathleen is very, very new to this material, where Bob was very, very studied and versed. And I think the idea of the stick man with the subconscious, the reason why I think Bob taught that is because it's way too much to handle from day one. You're part of infinite intelligence. You are God. These are just concepts that people can't connect to, in my opinion. But Bob was so good at like breaking it down at a 5th grade level. It's like, you have this part of your mind, this part of your mind, your body. This controls your body. This programs that. And if you understand how the programs got there, you can add new ones. So it's a very simple concept. At least that's what I feel. But Ian?
right. Thank you.
Yeah, Brian. So I'm rereading the book by Dr. Chad Helmstetter, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And just on this paragraph, right, the chapter right now is talking about this. And it didn't occur to me that it doesn't really matter that you listen, that your conscious mind is aware of what you're programming your mind. Like when we do a life script, we say it, we write it out, we say it. And, I heard you say once before, sometimes it becomes white noise and you sort of like tune it out, but it actually has the same effect.
100%.
According to that, program it in, whether you're conscious of hearing it or not, it's still doing its work.
Absolutely. Well, that's what hypnotism is, right? So let's say your life script, you're listening to it and you're focusing, you're consciously focusing. So you're hearing it word by word. But let's say you were driving, it was just on the radio, right? And you were kind of tuning it out. Well, your subconscious can't not hear it. So in hypnotism, they do the same thing. They neutralize your conscious mind so that your subconscious mind is wide open to suggestion. And this is why they can get you to do things you would normally be embarrassed about because you just don't care. And this is why other people listen to things while they're sleeping. Your subconscious mind, when we are quote unquote awake, we have the ability to reject information consciously. When we're asleep or under hypnosis or in that mode of the white noise thing, you're not consciously rejecting anything, which is why it's dangerous to fall asleep with the TV on, with the news on and commercials on. It's not dangerous, but it's going to go into your subconscious. But 100%, yeah, 100%.
There's a lot of
All of us know people that are uncomfortable with silence. Have you ever gone into a household and the major news channel of their choice is playing nonstop 24/7? Guess what? They think, believe, act in alignment with what's being played in the background.
There are a lot of Eastern beliefs that say that you should live somewhere between heaven and earth and not on one or the other. And I think this is speaking a lot of that. of the fact that there's God and then there's human and then there's the in-between. A lot of times with my students or my clients, we'll get into this conversation. And the best way I like to explain it is like a video game. You have the actual character of the video game, the person who's playing it, and the creator. And the creator of the video game has access to code any single thing you really want for the video game. Then there's the person playing the game who really only learns things from experiencing the video game and then chooses to accept certain things. And then there's the character itself that can only do what it's programmed to do. So a lot of people will be playing the video game as the character itself. They just get stuck in the character. They don't even realize that there's a player playing them, let alone someone who created the game in the first place. And they make decisions based on what the character can do. So only on the weapons or the things that are available to them. Whereas a player might strategize in the whole entire area, and a creator can literally just delete a problem or add a solution. So
that is an amazing analogy. I actually love that. So in the scenario that we are here, we would be the player, right? We're aware of the creator. We're tapping into the creator, starting to download some of that source code, but we're certainly not the characters anymore, the pre-programmed characters from our parents, from school, from society. So I love that, brother. That was awesome. Nelson?
Yeah, it kind of gets into the conversation, where you've probably heard Elon Musk say that, we are a simulation. And when you couple, what was just said with, the fact that we're basically electrical chemical beings, right? We are programmed. There's the subconscious. We're massively powerful computers coming from a creator that's beyond our capacity to even understand, right? So the whole simulation conversation becomes interesting at that point, right? Not saying that, we're a video game, but all the components of the simulation line up, especially based on what we just said in terms of paralleling it to a video game, right? With the creator, the programmer, et cetera. It's fascinating.
It is. Well, that's what Bob was so good about, guys. He could come up with scenarios just like that, Josiah. He could say something that's super complex, but related to something that we all understand, which I actually love that. Nelson, you want to take over from here? Who are you?
Sure. Who are you? This is what you have to determine. Your task is to learn who you are and what your relationship to God is. You have the power to make or mar your life, to choose the direction in which you move. You probably, without effort, recognize that there are at least 3 of you. The you that others see, the you that you believe yourself to be, and the you that you really are. There's confusion among the 3 undoubtedly. For the first you tends to respond to others on the level of their expectation. The second inclines to overestimate or underrate itself. And the third is the product of individual and race experiences. Keep going.
Sure, unless somebody has interjection.
That was a lot. I'll finish it.
Well, same with you. If something comes to your mind, just elaborate.
Seldom are the 3 yous synchronized. Do you not sometimes think or say, surely I didn't do that. It isn't like me. Or now, why did I say that? I didn't really mean it. But there's another you, the most important you of all, the real you.
Peggy, do you have something?
I just have a comment and maybe a question, but it makes me think of lesson 6 and thinking into results and Maxwell Maltz, like the self-image. But then I'll let Nelson keep going, because I think, what other people think of us and what we think of ourselves is that programming, but then who we really are connected to God, that's like a whole different thing that hardly ever do we get connected to or exposed to. So am I thinking, what do you think?
Well,
about
self-image is a subset of paradigm, right? Self-image is part of the mental programs that make up how you see yourself, which is part of the paradigm. And I think that the key thing in that book and even with what Bob teaches, is to understand that a lot of people's self-image was given to them by other people over time since birth. Whether your parents are one way or another, whether you got picked on in school or not, and you could have an inflated self-image too, a huge ego, could be a whole bunch of different things. But I always find it easier to process the fact that self-image is a subset of paradigm. Paradigm is all the mental programs controlling, health, love, fitness, finance, all your whole belief system. It's all the mental programs. So there's subsets of that, right? Physical fitness, self-image, relationships. And in that book, Maxwell Maltz talks about people's images are usually like this. It's the one that's inside that they know is them, that you can't lie about. And then there's the one they project to the world, and they're usually very far apart for a whole host of reasons. What we learn here is to bring those as close together as possible, just radical transparency. And that's something that I work on myself, is just not really giving a shit what other people think, in a healthy way though, right? Most people aren't thinking. Now here, everybody's thinking, right? This group, that's why we have this group. Because when we go back to wherever it is you're going to do, most of the people around you are probably not thinking. They're just executing programs and just kind of doing the same thing day after day. And it's not their fault, it's their programming, right? But yeah, that's self-image is a subset. So we can enhance self-image by adding to the mental programs through auto-suggestion. Just like anything else, just like your goal, right? We repeat our goal. Well, you can repeat character traits over and over and over again. We can do mirror work, which you know what that is, looking in the mirror in the morning. We can install new programs that enhance our self-image if we evaluate our self-image and find that we have parts of it that are not serving us. Nelson?
Yeah, so I was having this conversation with my wife a few weeks ago about how the goal is to have, your real you and your perceived you kind of meshed, become one, essentially. Her analytical mind, she's in HR. She's like, yeah, I get that. I'm aware of that, but there's no way I can do that in a workplace. Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of
well, she's concerned about
people, she has to pretend she's a certain way with certain people in order to do her job, right?
Well, she's concerned about her job. So that's a level of awareness. She's concerned she might get fired, and she might get fired, but who gives a shit? It's just a job, right? So she's at that level of awareness where her job is so important that she feels that she can't be her radical self. Now, that's not true. That's just how she feels.
Well, it's kind of, she's more of the babysitter. She's not afraid of getting fired, but she deals with some people that quite honestly need some mental help. Right? So she has to, she has the awareness. She has to kind of treat them differently and put on a different hat, because if she was direct with them, it would cause all kinds of issues in their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And
like I said, it's a condition of the job. She needs to.
It's a condition, but the awareness is key, correct?
Yeah. And now only if there's conflict though. If she's okay with that, then that's fine. But if she's like, if there's a conflict, like, she comes home and it's this double binding message, and it's just like, then quit the job, go do something else. There's a million ways to earn money. I would not stay in a job where I couldn't be myself.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now. Now I did years ago, and we all do, I think, right? We cater to situations instead of just being our, just our true self everywhere. And I still do it. I don't show the world all the fucking shenanigans I do. Some people might not hire us.
But to your point, as long as it doesn't create conflict, right?
It doesn't. I can't serve them if, we are serving a lot of people. My intention is to serve billions. So I have no conflict with that. I get sometimes that you need to do it. So that's more the question, the conversation I have with her is it creating conflict within her? Or is she totally cool with it?
Yeah. And she's cool with it.
Good. There you go. Yeah. Somebody else had their hand up, I think. William's like, I did not sign up for this shit. Gets deep in here, brother.
It's funny. This is actually a topic that really applies to me, because at the beginning of my entrepreneurial career, I was very much tied to a combination of the guy that I thought I was versus the guy who I wanted to be. And I put so much effort into trying to believe in who I wanted to be and who I was going to be, that I very often forgot who I actually was. And there was a significant disparity between the two. So, it was detrimental, to be honest with you, because, there were decisions that I made and things that I did as the person who I thought I was, or who I wanted to be, and not who I really was. And you know, it hurt me, I think, in some ways, but you know, I probably have to think on it, because you know, who knows? It's kind of, that's how I've gained traction, right?
Well, that's what I was just
started-
going to say. That see,
Yeah.
quite often you can look at something through a different perspective, the same exact thing through a different lens. Now you say it
Right.
was detrimental, but I would say it's just experience and learning, and part of why you are where you are, and you're in a very good place. If I'm correct, you're in the best place you've ever been.
Yeah, no, now definitely. And
Right.
I mean,
So we
you
can
know,
look back and say, you know, it's just learning. It's just experiences and things of that nature.
Yeah, no, I mean, and all, you know, mistakes are experience, you know, which is learning.
Mhm.
You know, I look at it like maybe there was some mistakes I didn't have to make, right? But
Mhm.
you know, who knows? The sum of all of it got me where I am.
Exactly.
So
Yep. Yeah. And you know, the way we kind of process that is all of your experiences are part of this whole thing, right? And if we talked about this before, most everybody here has the opinion that whatever we call God is infinite, universal intelligence, God, whatever you want to call that intelligence, that it's infinite. And if that's the case, you cannot divide infinity. There's no subsets of infinity mathematically. So it means we're a part of it. So, and if you believe God is good, or that entity is good, then all the experiences, we just have our lens. So you can choose to look at that as detrimental or absolutely necessary part of the plan. And you can be thankful for the experience, even if it's chaotic at the time.
right.
Mr. Patterson, what's happening, brother?
Hey, Brian, how's everybody doing?
Good with that angelic voice. Would you like to lead us from I, the author?
Oh, you're going to make me read publicly?
I am.
It's my biggest fear in life. You kidding me? I'll do my best.
All right, brother.
I, the author, know at least two things about you now. You are seeking a religion that will satisfy you, one that will meet your needs. I know, too, that your search is the result of divine discontent. I suspect that you approach it with a little fear in your heart, and consequently with some reservations. Many persons with a childhood background of Orthodox religion struggle with a sense of disloyalty as they begin this kind of study. Possibly they feel they are letting their parents down when they break free from the creed which they were taught. They may fear to lose what little faith they have.
Does anybody here have any of that going on, or have you gone through any of that? I don't have a strong religious background. I'm very well studied in spirit, but my mom broke that chain. Her parents were extremely religious, Catholic religious, and put her and her brother through, you know, some pretty crazy stuff. So my mom consciously broke that chain and let me and my brother figure it out for ourselves. But who has some of that going on from when you were brought up? Erica? Matt, looks like a few of you guys, huh?
I do. I'm still working through it. That paragraph made me tear up.
Yeah, well, just one thing I would say is it's not your parents' fault. It's not the church's fault. There's no blame. You can't blame ignorant people. It's just their programming.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest thing I work with anybody, especially if they have nobody really here. But as you guys know, we mentor all the way down to people that are just really at rock bottom. And the biggest thing that lifts the weight off their shoulders is when they really understand that it's not their fault. And that's I'm not just saying that in a cute kind of way. I show them the stick man. I say, you were programmed from birth. It's not your fault. And it's not your parents' fault. Even if your parents did something like really bad, right? Or whatever anybody went through, there's no blame to it. People are doing the best they can with the programming they have from generations before. And when people can release whatever has been done to them, I'm not saying anything was done to you, but just kind of makes me go down this rabbit hole. When they release that and they can forgive and forget, it allows them to move on. So that's the biggest thing. There's no blame. We're all just in this journey. And
I was doing well, and then when my dad passed away 6 months ago on Sunday, it's like it just kind of started everything over again for me. So
yeah, an understandable traumatic incident. Right? There's 3 ways we can change a paradigm. The healthy way that we all do it is through the spaced repetition of emotionalized ideas, new ones. The second way is from a traumatic incident. So there may be things in your life that changed instantly that you now have to do. I'm not sure if there is, but a lot of times something that close all of a sudden people are taking on the weight of something, or that their very next day they have to do things differently, or they decide to do things differently. So might be a good time to reflect on that and see if any of that's happening.
Brian,
uh-huh.
I would say that for me, like, I didn't grow up with a really strong religion, but I think I was searching for that. So this whole part about like seeking something that will satisfy you, I think that was a really huge part of my journey to get where I am right now, because, I wasn't Catholic and then I became Catholic. And that's pretty, intent for someone to, but I loved it. But then I realized all the judgment and the, isolation that the Catholic religion kind of puts on everybody else if you're not Catholic, which I didn't like. And then through studying what I'm studying, I realized so much that like God and the universe are the same. I mean, they're not, it's the same for everybody. It's not, it doesn't matter what religion you are. So I guess I'm kind of lucky that I came into it not with that baggage, because a lot of people do have that baggage. And I think we gave our kids some of that baggage, but they're all very much unattached right now.
No, I've met Lily. Yeah,
good.
she's definitely forming her own opinions on life for sure.
Yeah. So, but I can see that this part of that because I was searching. I definitely was searching, but it's nice to be able to see the real clear picture of that God and the universe are the same.
It's two different words for the same thing.
Yeah.
I want to go back to one thing that William, when you chimed in, we talk about self-images and being kind of like this. In a marriage, don't forget there's another image, right? So everybody has two images, but in a marriage there's six, and it goes into that in that book by Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. You have the image of who you feel that you are on the inside, the image you're projecting to your spouse, and then they have one they're projecting about you. They wake up and this is what they think you should be or are, based on how they perceive you from a limited sliver usually of your life. Unless you happen to be married for like 40, 50 years. So there's six images, and that's why there can be some conflict in marriages. Nelson? Where are you at?
All right, I was on
There you
mute.
go.
So, I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic private school growing up through 6th grade. And, I didn't know the word, programming. But when I'd go to hang out with my friends and I'd go to church with them or go to their Sunday school, I was like, this is completely different than my church, right? So religion going back is such a program, right? Such a long standing program, whether it's Catholic or Methodist or Baptist, and they all have their own programming, right? But I had awareness, and I wasn't aware of that word either back then, but I certainly had awareness that, hey, what they're learning and what they're doing in their religion is a little bit different than the stuff I hear in the Catholic Church. So that was always this paragraph here, big time, was something I dealt with my mom for a long time, who was devout Catholic, right? And so we had conversations over the years, and finally it was with my own confidence, reassuring her that, hey, I have my faith, I am good with God. That finally addressing it and not shying away from it helped me get through that conversation with my mom, and so. But yeah, it's absolutely a program, right? And then, then you have to determine, do you want a program or do you want faith and that awareness in the relationship with God? Because that relationship with God is beyond a religion, in my opinion.
I would agree. I would echo that. I mean, I guess it's important to understand, religion is just man's concept of what is. It's a group of people over time that believe they understand what God is. Doesn't mean they're right or wrong. And usually they're all pretty much saying the same thing for the most part. And I haven't studied all religions, but from the ones I have studied, they're really all saying the same things through different lenses and different spins on things. And it's just that sometimes it can be used in a way that's not healthy, like with fear tactics and things like that. There's no fear in God, if you ask me, right? So any religion that invokes fear or judgment or war, right? You have religious wars, like that's an oxymoron to me. If they're spiritual, they wouldn't have war in the first place. So I think it's just really important to understand the different levels of things. And I think that helps. But yeah, having a transparent conversations, and yeah, nobody here needs permission to have faith. You don't need to go to a building to do it. You just need to study and become aware and start to choose your beliefs. Anybody else before we move forward? All right, let's see. Mr. Lee, since you are the new public speaker in the group, you want to start on your search?
Sure. Your search will not be destructive to your previous religious acceptance. Metaphysics can build upon any religious belief, enlarges upon it, gives it new meaning, breathes the breath of life into it, translates it in terms of a working religion through which you may achieve the desires of your heart. Even the words of the old hymns take on new meanings. That's interesting.
So that's kind of what we're studying here too, by the way. Metaphysics is kind of when you study everything. It's not straight science. It's not straight theology. It's not straight quantum physics. It's kind of when you're looking at everything from all the, and that's what we're doing here, right? We're looking at all these different opinions on what is, and then we're masterminding on and deciding individually and together what makes sense. How do we all see these different things? And so it's interesting what he talks about here. It's like, just because you move on from your current religious belief, if you do, it doesn't mean you're rejecting that religion. It just means you're raising your level of awareness, not just a piece of your belief system. Kind of harvest the good and forgive the rest.
Right. As a child, you probably ask, where is God? The answer was, God is everywhere. Well, God is everywhere is the basic principle of metaphysics, for we recognize him as omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. He becomes the Father within to you when you accept the words of Jesus literally.
I just want to know, I think we last time, 2 weeks ago or something, there's a couple of chapters back, and it says something, what is God? And Josiah typed in, I think, 2 words or 1 word, everything or something like that. Would you remember what you typed in?
What isn't God?
What isn't God? Yes. Yeah. A bunch of us were like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's universal intelligence. And Josiah said, what isn't God? And I was like, holy shit. That about sums it up, doesn't it? So it's really good.
How about his love?
It's all part of it. What isn't God, right? Yeah. So all right, I'd be curious in your travel. I mean, it must have been extremely spiritual. Is anything coming up from you based on the week that you spent out there about this?
A lot of things, especially the last paragraph, or the last sentence of the last paragraph. Even the words of old hymns take on new meanings. I had the great fortune of sitting down with 3 different religions, believe it or not, in one dinner, and we were discussing religion, and we were discussing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there was enough alcohol in the place, but anyway, the best part of it was when most of them, or most of us, agreed that we all do believe in one thing, which is God, and we all do believe in love, that or peace, that, and that's where we ended up every single conversation. So what the old hymns take on new meaning is one of the hymns that we the Orthodox Church sings before Mass starts, and the words are the literal words actually are and now is the beginning of the beginning. So up to now, what I've believed on is just the beginning of the Mass and whatever, but the beginning of the beginning is first words of the Bible. First there was him and man, and then so and believe it or not, the Jews took that more seriously than we did, and just it was an incredible thing, and this is resonating quite a bit to me.
I love it. Yeah, I love to talk deeper sometime about your journey there. Must have been amazing.
You got it.
Also, how you schedule it. Is that something you did yourself, or did you hire somebody to put that together?
No, actually, one of the Armenian churches here in Watertown puts this every other year. They take people to Jerusalem, and the other year they take them to Armenia. So we're supposed to go 2 years ago. It didn't happen due to COVID, and we did now. I was skeptical. I didn't expect to appreciate it or love it or be more curious about religion. Not the organized religion. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brian, you're stepping on where Christ stepped. You're in the hole where Christ was imprisoned the night before. And I said, and I told one of the bishops, I said, even if 10% of this is true, holy Christ, really, only 10% is fine, not 100%.
Yeah.
But it's just unbelievable stuff.
I love it. Ari, you want to take over reading from here?
Sure. Where are we?
I and the Father are one.
I and my Father are one. I am in the Father and the Father in me. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he does the work. You make us of the latest development in mechanical power. Your daily living is transformed by them. In taking the steps forward into the broadening area of religion, you are recognizing that religion too evolves, doesn't it? If you read your Bible, you cannot help knowing the great change in the concept of God and took place with the coming of Jesus. In your study of this book, in your absorption of the principles of it presents.
Before we go forward, I just want to go back to the bold part there. I and my Father are one. I am the Father. I can of my own self do nothing. What does that mean to you guys? Something just came to me from a recent experience, and to me, when God leaves, that's what we call death, right? At least this part of it. So when it says, I can of my own self do nothing, there's something that gives us life force. We're breathing in this body. And to me, that's what God is, right? A piece of that consciousness. And it's not to say that goes away when we pass. I'm just saying in the physical realm, I can of my own self do nothing. That's kind of how I look at that. Ivan, amigo. You have a question or comment, brother?
No, I just I've been listening to the whole chapter I'm reading, and I have a comment that I realized through my studies and observations that it's actually one of the main things for the reasons that I created Philanthro Investors is very connected with this with this chapter. And if you go back to the one that you were speaking before, like if you move back to the other one that says, I can of my own self do nothing. Something I want to share with all of your friends is that if you look at it from the viewpoint of help, right? You know, if you think on the word help, it means to assist someone. It's very simple. It's like, you know, you give a pen to someone that needed a pen, right? And you help that person. But now, if you go back and you think if you give me just a few minutes, Brian, like if you think on the last time that someone helped you, just, you know, the closest time that you can think of, maybe you're thinking of someone 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, or now. Like if you think on the last time that someone helped you, and then you also compare it with the last time that you helped someone, and you think like, when was the last time I helped someone? And you will start realizing that you will feel more closer to God, and the majority of people that is seeking for a religion or that need that they feel they have, I think they are seeking for being able to achieve or arrive to a place where they feel that they are adding value to others, where they feel that they are helping others. And because in my in my belief, in my own observation, like not observing any religion at all, just observing for myself the reality, I have felt the better spiritually and the better in mood and the better, the more sharp and the more smart and the more like the better of myself when I am helping someone and when I am adding value to someone and when I am feeling that I am improving other person's life. And when you do that massively and you can observe that that happened to masses, that was the experience that Jesus had. He had the experience. He had the experience that he was massively helping others. So, and then if you take it to another step, I just want you to just around you where you are right now, just observe one object that is around you, like right now, like just pick one object, even your screen monitor or your cell phone or your chair, and just ask yourself how that object is helping someone. And you will find out, and that's something that I start observing when I do it, even like every now and then, every few months or something, I just do it just to observe. And I have never found anything that is not helping someone in some way or another.
Wow, that's interesting. I love what you said about the feeling that Jesus must have had, right? Because he's expanding, helping everyone at that point, I would imagine, right?
Yes, like he was on a path that he decided that he wanted to help the entire planet. Like his intention was he wanted to bring that desire and that feeling that he got and that mood that I am here to help the majority of people that I can with the connection to the universe or God that I have. So I just had that thought when you were reading that. I wanted to pass it to you.
No, I appreciate that point of view. I love it.
You're welcome, yeah.
Awesome. Well, on that note, guys and girls, that was definitely a deep mastermind. I love when we get into content personally, and I hope you guys do too. I love the different points of view and where it goes, and it's really interesting. This is my favorite hour of the week, by the way, and everything I do. It's just hanging out with you guys is just amazing. So I love and appreciate you all. If anybody else wants a hot seat for any reason, even if you've been in one and it's been a while, you have something to launch or solve or promote or whatever, just raise a hand. Let me know. We'll get you fit in. Chris and Erica, let us know when you want yours. You're up next, and then Corbin is another one. Oh, and Mr. Patterson, you as well. You came on a couple minutes late, but let me know when you're ready for one, and we'll get you scheduled in too. All right. Have an amazing week, everybody. Will, good to see you, brother. Be well. God bless. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Have a one week, amigos. Bye.
See you, brother.